We last saw FERALIGATR in a Pokémon Crystal video all the way back in November 2022. A lot's changed since then, so let's see how we fare. And so now, as we're preparing to get into the FERALIGATR video, firstly I want to say a very big thank you to the support you've shown for the ideas we've got for the series here together on the channel. I'm looking forward to all three series. I've played a few runs in each, some that will come out as videos and others were just for practice. And if you don't want to miss some of these older Pokemon getting a brand new run, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Now, in order to do the run, we do need to look at the stats of our FERALIGATR, and we are shaping up like this time. We are level 5, of course, with 25 HP. We are holding a berry and our 4 moves are Scratch, Leer, Rage and Water Gun. We've got 17 in attack, 16 in defense and 14 in everything else. And with that, I will now hand you over to the live run and we will see how FERALIGATR gets on in its challenge. So welcome along everybody to FERALIGATR's Unbound challenge. This of course is the series with a very loose rules set, and with FERALIGATR early game is going to be a breeze. Even as a Totodile, it just destroys everything in its path. And I think this is one of the Pokemon that has been most deserving of a redo on the channel for a very, very long time. So I'm going to do my best to do FERALIGATR justice today. This is, of course, our Unbound series, and that means we are going in with minimal rules. We're able to use rare candies as and when we need to, and we are able to basically play the game how we want. So we have no restrictions in place, other than the ones you can see in the description down below. Now, one thing I did do for this video is I watched the old FERALIGATR video back, and I didn't realise just how relaxed I sound in those old voiceovers. It's definitely a stark difference from what we've been seeing in recent times here on the channel, especially over the last 18 to 24 months. And I think I want to try and tone everything down a little bit more. So instead of being all hype and in your face, and let's be honest, a little bit shouty at times, we're just going to have a chat as we're going through the challenge. And especially with a Pokemon like FERALIGATR, it makes it easy. We're going to use Rage here against Rival 1. That's because it's probably going to be the quickest way to knock out the Chikorita there. It was only 3 hits. Because of how Rage works in Generation 2, it is very powerful, especially in the early game. Every time we get hit, our power is going to double. Now we're going to call the rival triple question mark as we always do, and we have no need to do early Sprout Tower in this challenge. We will be picking up all the rare candies for this one though, so there will be Sprout Tower later on to get our Whirl Island rare candy, but for now we can absolutely just put it on the back burner. Now I think the best thing to do is skip ahead to Violet City, where we're going to be taking on Falkner. And we had a very smooth ride there through to Violet City. We took in a couple of optional trainers, and we did of course take on a couple of wild Pokemon as well. And now we are more than ready for our first gym together. It's going to be a very easy affair because we have Rage. We can set it up against the Pidgey, and as long as we don't critical hit, we will be in zero danger whatsoever against the Pidgeotto. Depending on how much damage we take here, we might do a cheeky little heal. We are 13 HP off maximum. I did pick up an extra berry, we'll just use that. And now we'll take Falkner on. He is of course our first gym leader to get a flying type specialist, and he's going to lead with Pidgey. I misclicked there and used Water Gun. Oh dear, should be still fine. We can set up a couple of rages against the Pidgeotto instead. There we go, we took 1 extra turn, but that's no problem at all. 4 minutes and 10 seconds for the Zephyr badge. That means we can start heading towards Azalea Town, and just before we head there, I do want to say I am still quite sick, so if there are any voice cracks, I can only apologise in advance. And also, with me toning things down, it's going to take me a while to get my rhythm and flow back with this new style, so there may be a few stutters here and there, but I will try my best to edit around them. And with the Togepi eggs deposited in the box for yet another challenge, I'll start making my way into Azalea Town now, where we'll catch the HM friends. Now, going through Union Cave, we did take on 3 optional trainers. I took on the pair of Hikers with the Onyx and the set of Geodude, and I also took on the Fire Breather with the Vulpix, because they were all very, very easy KOs. Gave us some much needed experience in time for Azalea Town. Now, here in the forest, we're catching our HM friends. It is, of course, a Pryce for Cut, Dig, Rock Smash, and Cut, Dig, Rock Smash, and something else that my brain is eluding me. Cut, Dig, Rock Smash, and Flash, of course. And then we have Psyduck for Surf, Strength, Whirlpool, and Waterfall. But with those two safely in the party for another challenge, we will skip ahead to the Bugsy battle. And with all of the trainers defeated in Bugsy's gym, let's take on Bugsy himself. This is our second gym leader together, a Bug-type specialist who's going to lead with Metapod. And we're going to do the Rage strategy again, because I think this is going to be the best way to build up our attack. Unfortunately, we got some bad luck there, because we weren't able to, or should I say, we weren't hit. So our Rage took a little bit longer to build up. It's absolutely fine though, we still get through very quickly in 9 minutes and 25 seconds. That is the one trouble with Rage. You're relying on the AI actually hitting you, which is kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? We'll heal up to almost maximum and we'll take on the second rival battle now. He shouldn't be too much issue. We've got Water Gun for the Ghastly. We will knock it out in one shot, and here comes the Bayleaf. We're going to try Rage first of all. It might not be the strategy, but then again, it might be the strategy because we get through in 3 hits. We'll then continue raging against the Zubat, and we didn't get knocked out by Rival 2. Very, very nice there. Now, if we place on a Repel just here, and we do perfect movement through the forest, we should be able to get our Repel wearing out just as we reunite the Farfetch'd and then go to the cut tree. That's what I'm going to try and do. So I might lose 3 or 4 seconds here, which we can make up elsewhere, just to try and get this movement nailed down, because this is one of the efficiencies I want to try and incorporate into these runs. So there we go, we did perfect movement there, first try, very happy about that. We will teach cuts to our Pryce. We will use a Repel, not a Pokeball. We cannot catch the tree, and we'll cut the tree down. Now, we are going to be picking up Headbutt in this challenge. It's going to be replacing Scratch. Scratch is already showing a little bit of weakness there, not being a very high-powered move, and we will be teaching it straight away now. So it's goodbye to Scratch and hello to Headbutt in its place. We'll stick on another Repel, we'll grab the pair of Ethers, and then it'll be time to catch ourselves an Abra. And whilst we're catching the Abra, I want to talk about the plan for Goldenrod City. We are going to be getting ourselves another Headbutt TM and an Ice Punch TM from Goldenrod, but we're not going to be teaching Ice Punch until after the Whitney fight, because we want to be using Rage. We're going to risk it a little bit for a biscuit against Whitney, because if we get hit by Double Slap several times, Rage is going to do an awful lot of damage. We'll get rid of Bites while we're here, and I'll take on a few trainers, and we'll meet back up at the department store. Very quickly before we go into the department store, we are going to pick up Kenya to complete the HM Friends for another challenge. I'll now go and get Dig for Kenya, and then we will take on Whitney after buying our moves. And here we are entering into the department store. I always prefer to use the stairs. Unfortunately, we can't get return quite yet. We are going to get ourselves a Headbutt and an Ice Punch though. And with that, we are ready to head into Whitney's gym. So I do have one mandatory trainer to take on. It's going to be Last Carry with her Snubble. We'll skip that battle and we'll meet back up for the Whitney fight. And here we go in front of Whitney. She is of course our third gym leader together. A normal type specialist who leads with Clefairy. Clefairy's using Double Slap, but it only hit twice. That's not great, but we still should be doing a lot of damage with Rage, especially if we can build up a couple more Rages. Once again, a move missed. Goodness me. It's almost like the AI knows that if we're using Rage, it's better for them to miss. Anyway, 15 minutes for the third badge. That's not a bad time at all. And now we're going to be doing a variant of Quick Ecruteak next. It's what we're calling Safe Ecruteak. Unfortunately, I've got to get through Spinner Hell once more, so I tell you what, I'll get through here, I'll do the Sudowoodo bit, and then we will reconvene when we're ready to do Safe Ecruteak. And here we are in Ecruteak, and the first thing we're going to do is leave Ecruteak, because we're heading towards the lighthouse first and foremost. This is part of the Safe Ecruteak plan. We do have a couple of spinners we need to get past. I was probably going to battle Norman anyway because we have Bite, so this one isn't too much of an issue, but by going here, we're able to pick up the Mince Berry for our Feraligator, And that's going to be very important because that's going to provide a little bit of safety for the Morty battle. Because I'm not 100% sure if we're able to one-shot with Surf. We probably are, but there are universes where we may need to be woken up. We're going to take on Derek here because we're going to be cycling back. And then if we go down this way, we're going to enter into Olivine Pokemon Center. So with Quick Ecruteak, we skip all the Pokemon Centers and just do Ecruteak City storyline straight away. With Safe Ecruteak, we actually take a heal in the Lighthouse. And we figured this costs around about 4 seconds worth of time, so it's not a great time loss. And you do also get some extra experience by ascending the Lighthouse. Now it's at this point that Rage is a little bit surplus to requirements, so what I'm going to do is I'm not going to teach Rock Smash to our FERALIGATR, goodness me, we're going to teach Rock Smash to our Pryce, and then we're going to teach Ice Punch to our FERALIGATR. We're going to get rid of Rage because I think Bites could be handy, especially because we do have Morty's Gym coming up. And now we'll try and Ice Punch out on this Noctowl. Misclicks there, thought it would be in slot number 2, but that's absolutely fine. And now I'll keep ascending the Lighthouse, and I'll take you through the next bit after we're chatting with Jazz. And here we are at the tippy top of the Lighthouse. We'll have a little chat with Jazz. She wants us to get some medication. We will oblige because we have to. We're now going to dig out of here. And just for PP purposes and a little bit of safety, I will take another heal here in Olivine City. And we're going to cycle all the way back to Ecruteak now. We get interrupted by the bike shop because we've been cycling so much. But as long as we don't do that movement there and take this left-hand path and then go over the ledge, we can get back to Ecruteak very quickly. And we're almost perfectly in line for the Kimono Girls. Now, the extra experience we got going up the Lighthouse means that some of these Kimono Girls are actually slightly quicker battles. We're getting rid of some 2-shots and turning them into 1-shots, and we're also getting rid of some 3-shots and turning them into 2-shots. So overall, we might actually be saving time by doing the Kimono Girls later. Look at this, it was probably not going to be a 2-shot on the Umbreon at the lower level, but now that we are a higher level, that is definitely saving some time. We'll see it against the Vaporeon as well there. We are able to 2-shot that. I think High Roll would still have been a 2-shot to be fair. And now we have no worries at all against the Jolteon. We 1-shot that thing. We're not getting hit by any electric moves. And of course our reward is Surf. And you know who learns Surf? Of course it's Psyduck. But that's not who we worry about in this one. We also learn Surf on our FERALIGATR, and we're going to be teaching that over Water Gun. So we have both Surf and Strength, so we'll teach them both to Psyduck first of all, and then we will teach just Surf to our FERALIGATR. We'll use a Repel in here as well, make sure we get rid of Water Gun first and foremost, and then we want to get our cursor back over Strength. And with that, it is time for the third rival battle. This time he is going to lead, of course, with Ghastly, no, Haunter. So we'll Surf over the Haunter, it's going to do more damage than Bite, counterintuitively. That's just how powerful Surf is. And now we can use a Headbutt on turn 1 against the Bayleaf. Razor Leaf does next to nothing. We'll finish it off with an Ice Punch, and then we'll Ice Punch the Zubat. That was a very nice Rival 3. We're not going to be troubled by the rival anymore now in this particular challenge. We will fall through the floor, we'll release the beast, and we'll join back up for Morty. And this is Morty, our 4th gym leader together. He is, of course, going to be a Ghost and Poison type specialist, and he leads with Ghastly. We're going to Surf on all of these Pokemon. It's going to be the best chance of knocking them all out in 1 hit. And if we don't consume the Mince Berry here, which we do in this case, so the safe Ecruteak strategy was definitely the way to go, we could have saved that for Chuck. We'll go to our backup Bitterberry for Chuck instead. 2232 for the Fog Badge. Now, we're going to be heading east next. That might seem a little bit daft, because our next gym leader is west, but we are going to continue on with the last part of Safe Ecruteak. We have 3 Surfs remaining. That is absolutely perfect. That's the number we want to see, because we're going to be taking on Pokemaniac Miller here, and then we're going to be taking on the other Pokemaniac, whose name I always forget. He's the one just near the Lake of Rage. We're not going to get caught by that spinner. I've decided against it. I'm putting my foot down. Let me use one of our penultimate regular repels. We'll get past that spinner. It's this dude here. Let's find out his name together. It is Ron. Of course it's Ron. Apologies for forgetting your name, Ron. We will defeat his Nidoking, and we might as well actually take on this Slowbro. It's a lot of delicious mid-game experience, because we've got Bite, and we have the chance to flinch there. So with those all defeated, we're not actually getting Hidden Power today. We have no need for Hidden Power. We do, however, have a need for that full restore, so we'll pick that up. We'll chop down this tree, we'll chop down the other tree. We'll get ourselves our Lake of Rage rare candy, just like that. And now if we teleport, we're all the way back in Olivine City, so we get to save a little bit of time there. Now I'm going to get some super repels, I'm going to cross the ocean, and then we will be ready for Chuck. And now it's time for Chuck, our 5th gym leader together, a fighting type specialist who's going to lead with Primate. We're holding the Bitter Berry for this battle, and it shouldn't be too difficult. Leah has failed. Now we are going to have to brute force this Poliwrath. Fortunately, Headbutt's a flinching move, and he also missed his Dynamic Punch. That was about as perfect as Chuck could be, 25-53 for the Storm Badge, and that means we can now get Fly from Chuck's wife, if she doesn't wander away from us, of course. We will get HMO2, we're going to teach that to Kenya, and you can see our cursor there is directly above HMO2. We're going to stick on a Super Repel, and I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping now. One of the things I really like about my housekeeping routine is that you're able to use a single Super Repel and get the New Bark Town rare candy, the Violet City rare candy, and the Goldenrod City rare candy, as well as taking on the Red Gyarados in one set of repels. I did also pick up the charcoal to sell for some money in that little sequence as well. So that really does save a lot of time menuing, because that's where I'm slowest. Obviously, being dyslexic, reading through the bag is one of my big time sinks. So if I'm able to use the bag as little as possible, I can save quite a lot of time. Now here at the tippy top of the lighthouse, we're going to give the secret potion to Jasmine, and even if she uses it on her Steelix today, it's not going to make a difference. We are going to have one of the easiest Jasmine battles we will ever see. So we'll take her on. She is our 6th gym leader together, a Steel-type specialist, and she leads with Magnemite. Magnemite has virtually no special defense, so it goes down in a single hit. And then, of course, we are super effective against the Steelix. One hit wonder is all we need to defeat Jasmine and obtain the Mineral Badge in 28 minutes and 8 seconds. That means it is now time to head over to Mahogany Town, where we've got the dreaded underground. I will skip through this as quickly as I can, and it'll be time for Pryce. And we find ourselves in front of Pryce. Pryce is our 7th gym leader. He is an Ice-type specialist who's going to lead with Seal. We'll headbutt the Seal, we'll knock it out in one shot, and then it's probably going to be a 2-shot on the Dugong. We flinch the Dugong, that seals the victory, if you'll excuse the pun, because we've just got Piloswine left to go. That has a weakness to water, and we get our next badge in 32 minutes and 16 seconds. Now we're going to get an awful call from Professor Elm telling us stuff is going down in the radio tower and we are needed there. But I don't want to be taking on the radio tower quite yet, so I'm going to make my way through to Blackthorn City, and we'll meet back up in Goldenrod. Find ourselves back in Goldenrod City. We're going to pick up Return, and we're going to teach it in the place of Bite. We kept Bite in case we got Border Douglas, which didn't happen in this particular instance, so we can now teach Return in the place of it and have a lot more useful PowerPoints for the Rocket section. And with that, we'll meet back up for Rival 4. And now it is time for the 4th and penultimate rival battle. We are here in the Goldenrod Underground, and it should be a fairly easy battle. We'll start off with an Ice Punch against the Golbat to guarantee the one-shot against that. We'll swap to Surf for the Magnemite and it'll go down straight away. Now, for the Meganium, I don't think Ice Punch is going to get close to one-shotting, so we will use a combination of Headbutt and Ice Punch to guarantee that we knock it out as quickly as we can. We'll use Surf on the Haunter, and now a Reflect is up, but that's absolutely fine because we can use Surf against the Sneasel just a couple of times as well. And we get through Rival 4 very easily. And with that, it's now time to think about taking on Clair. And here we are in front of Clair. This is our final Jotonian gym leader. She is a Dragon-type specialist and she's going to lead with Dragonair. Now, just to be safe, I'm going to use Ice Punch against the Dragonair because it's super effective and it will one-shot. I'm not 100% sure whether Return would one-shot at level 47. And now we're on to the Kingdra. We'll use an Ice Punch on turn 1, and then we'll risk it for a biscuit with Return. Oof. She's going to Healing Loop, unfortunately. That was a little bit of bad luck there, but we didn't take too much of a time loss. With Clair defeated, I will now rush to the Dragon's Den to get our last badge. And after answering the questionnaire 11212, Clair enters the Dragon's Den and she's going to give us our final Johtonian badge, the Rising badge, in 45 minutes and 14 seconds. That is not a bad time at all, and that means we can now start heading towards the Pokémon League. Now, there are a couple of items we need to pick up before the final rival battle this time. We will get the HP up because I sold the last one for other vitamins. We'll get Earthquake as well. And now we'll take him on for one last time. We're going in damaged here, which shouldn't be an issue, and he's going to lead with Sneasel. So we'll use Return against the Sneasel. That will go down in a single hit. We will surf all over the Magneton like we have been doing for the majority of this challenge, and we'll headbutt the Meganium. Razor Leaf doesn't do any damage at all, really. We'll finish it off with Return. We will use Return against the Golbat, and that will just leave Haunter and Kadabra left to go. We've got a Surf with Haunter's name on it, and we have a Return with Kadabra's name on it, growing to level 51, and we are through the final rival battle. And with that, we're at the Pokemon League, so we're going to do a very quick heal, mostly for PP purposes, and then we will buy our 4 full restores, and we will take a look at our stats going into the league. And we are shaping up like this. Level 51 with 176 HP, holding the pink bow with Return, Surf, Headbutt and Ice Punch. 148 in attack, 138 in defense, 122 in special attack, 126 in special defense and 121 in speed. Please do remember those are the out of battle stats. We'll get a big buff in battle now, as we'll see against Will. He is our first league member, a Psychic type specialist who leads with Xatu. We'll use Return against Xatu, and then we will Ice Punch the Executor. We get a very nice critical hit there. Not sure that would have been a one-shot without it. We can one-shot Jinx with Headbutt. That's how frail she is. We're also going to Headbutt the Slowbro. Amnesia is great for us because it means that he's not going to be taking many turns of special defensive buffing, and we will use an Ice Punch against the final Xatu. That is Will all defeated, and we can move on to Koga, and it's at this point we're going to say goodbye, unfortunately, to our Headbutt move. We're going to replace it with Earthquake, because I think Earthquake is going to give us the best chance to get through Koga, and I think we're also going to give the Never Melt Ice. If I can pick the right item from the bag, goodness me. Where is it? There it is. Lost a teeny tiny bit of time there, but this is Koga, our second league member, a Poison type specialist who leads with Ariados. Now we'll use Surf against the Ariados, make sure it goes down in a single hit. And now we will Return against the Venomoth. That just about does enough damage. For Fortress, we've only really got one choice, and that's to Surf. And then here comes the Muck. We can use Earthquake against the Muck, and it'll go down in just one shot. We don't have anything too great for the Crobat. I was seeing there if an Ice Punch would be a one-shot. It isn't, unfortunately, but Double Team was meaningless. That is Koga done, and we can move on to Bruno. So Bruno is our third league member. Let's get his title card up. He is a Fighting type specialist who leads with Hitmontop. We're going to use Return, and we can finish it off with Earthquake. We almost but not quite grow to the next level, and we are now going to use a Return against the Hitmonchan. Thunder Punch does not paralyze us, that was one of the big concerns there, and we can return the Hitmonlee. The next Pokemon is of course Machamp. I do kind of wish we had Headbutt for this, but Cross Chop has missed. That has guaranteed the victory for us now. We will surf all over the Onix, and we defeat Bruno in 51 minutes flat. A little bit of prep work we need to do for Karen now. The first thing we're going to do is find those full restores in the bag. We'll get ourselves up to max health. We're going to use a HP up, and we are also going to use our 5 rare candies. Karen is the biggest threat for our Feraligatr, so we're going to make sure that we go in at the highest possible level. We are risking it a little bit by not having anything to flinch this Umbreon, and we have been sand attacked, so we could take a reset here. However, Ice Punch is a guaranteed one-shot against the Vileplume, and that's the important thing. We do not want to be paralysed for this battle. We just have to get a little bit lucky with the rolls, which we're not getting, of course. Such is the plan. What is it they say? The best laid plans always go to waste. I'm not sure what the actual... What would that be? Just an expression. I'm sure there's a word for it, but under pressure I cannot think of it. But that expression definitely came to mind there. We don't get Destiny bonded. I think this is a guaranteed win now, you know. We'll just use Surf against the Murkrow. We'll use Surf against the Houndoom as well. As long as we hit, we win. And that's exactly what happens. Quick Karen resets. I'm not going to complain. You know what? We are going to risk it. We're going to go into Lance without taking any heal. So he leads with Gyarados. We are going to start off with an Ice Punch, hoping to get a freeze. Didn't really matter if we didn't get one. And now Ice Punch is definitely going to one-shot Dragonite. People call FERALIGATR a physical attacker, but I see it as a mixed attacker. I believe we have 75 in our physical attack, in our special attack, I beg your pardon. And that is perfectly cromulent. It's enough to use against Lance. We are using only a physical move, actually, against the Gyarados. Everything else is special, and look, we one-shot everything. 53 minutes and 3 minutes for Lance. That is a really, really good time, you know. I'm very happy with that. I'm proud of how I've played in this first half, even with a couple of Karen resets. Let's see what that does for our final Hall of Fame time for this challenge. We are getting 53 minutes and 19 seconds. This is, of course, only half the story, though. We've got another 8 gym badges and a red fight left to come, so don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And we are rejoining the action here in New Bark Town, where Professor Elm has a little phone call for us. He's going to give us the SS ticket. We'll be taking a trip to Kanto fairly soon. However, before we do that, we do need to ascend the Sprout Tower. And I've never actually timed how long the Sprout Tower takes. I am wearing a rappel, and I did swap our held item, which is why there was a little bit of discrepancy with the timer restarting here. I did that before we got in the recording. I thought it'd be a little bit smoother. So I think we got in here at about 53 seconds and 53 minutes and 40 seconds rather. We're going to see just how quickly we can get through Sprout Tower. We've got, I think, 4 mandatory trainers plus Elderly at the top, and we're not going to have the cutscene. These 2 trainers should be fairly quick. They've got a single Pokemon each. And then it should be fairly quick at the top as well. There we go. Our experience bar moved by a single pixel. So it's looking like it's around about 35 seconds for Sprout Tower, which honestly isn't too bad in the grand scheme of things. We will grow to level 60 against that Bellsprout, goodness me. Let's call it a minute. Let's be really kind of generous with the time we are giving the Sprout Tower there. We will teach Flash now to Paris, and then it'll be time to get the other rare candies, but we will meet back up in Kanto. It's always a balancing act, choosing which rare candies to get, but I'm very worried about only having 78 in speed here, which is why I decided to get both rare candies that take a little bit of time again in the Johto section. I really do think that that will pay dividends in the end, because I think we will outspeed the Espeon now, and I don't think we would have done it without those 2 rare candies. But now it is time to take on our standard Cantonian Gauntlet. So we're going to start here at Surge, we'll move over to Erica, we'll go to Janine, then to Sabrina. It'll be Misty, Brock, Blaine and Blue finishing it off. But I'm going to hand you over now to the Kanto chat, and we will meet back up in real time for the Blue fight. And talking of Blue, if you do want to skip ahead, it's going to be happening at around about 31 minutes and 42 seconds. For everybody else, let's now get into the chat, and I have been incredibly inspired by doing this Unbound series. It's definitely my favourite out of all of the series so far. So much so that I am changing the Redo series on stream to have the Unbound rules set as well. Now that's not going to change anything at all really with how we do the pre-recorded videos for Unbound, because I'm going to be targeting completely different Pokemon as part of the streaming series, and the leaderboards are going to be totally separate. It's never fair comparing a streamed run to a run we do together here on a pre-record, because on stream my brain has to think about so many other different things. Because not only am I thinking about what I'm doing with the run, I've also got to keep up with the chat and I've got to try and make myself as entertaining as possible. Even though I do live voiceovers now, it's still a completely different beast. But I really think that Unbound is something we should have done a very, very long time ago here on the channel. And one of the subtle distinctions between the Unbound series and the old series is allowing myself to do a redo if I'm not happy with the original run. For instance, this is the second FERALIGATR run we did for the Unbound series. I've kept the footage of the old one, it might come out as an archive run at some point, but there were just certain bits where I thought I could play better there, so I wrote them down as I was going through the run, and then on the second challenge, we did an awful lot better. I've just recorded the next Unbound video as well, and I'm thinking about doing the same. Because in the next Unbound run, which is going to be out in about a week's time, we're going to be running Typhlosion, and while I think Typhlosion had a very good run first try, there were a couple of bits where I could optimise and probably shave off up to about a minute and a half, and that's going to make Typhlosion's time even better. It's all going to be about how I feel on the day. There are going to be some times where I want to save a redo for much later down the line, especially if it's a very frustrating Pokémon. But we get 3 chances per Pokémon to get on the leaderboard. It's the best of all 3 times that will make it onto the leaderboard. And if I do want to optimise a Pokémon past 3 runs, I'm going to have a much more broad, more encompassing leaderboard that will probably contain all the runs from all the different streams and series since the reboot. And that second leaderboard will also include some bonus backpulls as pre-recorded videos. I've got my eyes on Zangoose again. We ran it on stream a few days ago, and that Pokémon is incredibly addictive to me. There's something about the way Zangoose plays that just makes me want more and more of it. But unfortunately with that, we're out of time, so I'll hand you over to the blue fight, and once again we have made it to blue. This is our final gym trainer of the challenge. He is a mixed type specialist who's going to lead with Pidgeot. We'll use an Ice Punch against the Pidgeot, he mirror moves, and he doesn't get the freeze. Thank goodness for that. We are on to Executor next. We're probably going to have to use a pair of Ice Punches here. He goes to Sunny Day, which is absolutely fine by me, because he can catch himself in a little bit of a healing loop there. Alakazam comes out next. We do outspeed, and we are able to one-shot. We grow to level 66, and here comes the Gyarados. We'll use Return. That should hopefully not catch a healing loop for him. And that just leaves Arcanine and the Rhydon left to go. The sun fades in just the right place there, so we get a very, very simple blue battle. Time of 108.10. I don't think we're going to get sub 110 in this particular challenge, but we will still get a darn good time nonetheless. Gonna have a little chat with Oak now. We will unlock Silver Cave, and then we will do a little bit of prep work for the red fight. Now I'm pausing the timer here because I'm thinking about what I want to do for red. There are a few ways we can go about it. The big obstacles, I think, are going to be the Espeon and the Venusaur. I think everything else we will have a counter for. Maybe the Blastoise as well could be a bit of a problem. So I'm actually thinking about getting rid of Surf and replacing it with Dynamic Punch. We should be fine against the Charizard, but it does mean, because we're going to have to go to Johto anyway now, to get ourselves Ice Beam, because that's the only way really to get through the Venusaur. I think it's worth going to the move deleter at the same time. Could be controversial. If it doesn't work, we can always reteach Surf, and it'll only be about a 10-second time loss. That's what I'm going to do. Let's unpause the timer and put this plan in action. So first destination is Goldenrod City. I've got to try and buy these coins as quick as I can, and I am never any good with the move tutor menu. That's why we're holding the Scamulet coin throughout, by the way, in Kanto. Right, there's always one fewer button press than I think there, and one fewer button press than I think here as well. So it's goodbye to Ice Punch and hello to Ice Beam, and now it's going to be a very quick trip over to Blackthorn, into the move deleter. That's not the move deleter, this is a move deleter. We will get rid of Surf. And now in the menu, what do we need to do? We need to teach. First of all, we need to give our rare candies to our Totodile here. And then we will teach Dynamic Punch. Tip it off the list for that. And it's back to Silver Cave, where we do actually have one more rare candy we can pick up. So we're going to be going in at level 71, which should be more than enough. So now that we've done that, we can use a Max Repel. We'll use our last rare candy, not on Kenya, but on our FERALIGATR. And now it's into Silver Cave. Because we got Flash, this is nice and easy for me. I haven't learnt Flashless Silver Cave though yet. Emphasis on yeah, I do want to give it a go at some point. But now is not the time mid-run. Let's park ourselves in front of Red and we'll see how we get on. This is Red, the final trainer of the challenge. He leads with Pikachu. One shot on the Pikachu with return, that was guaranteed. Now, Ice Beam, how much do you do? Quite a lot. And Sunny Day does mean that our water type moves would have been a bit poo-pooed anyway. Right, okay, Reflect isn't great, but we do outspeed. We're going to take a Spadef drop as well. That is not what we want to see. Dynamic Punch lands, that's good. Amnesia's fine. Dynamic Punch misses, we get body slammed, and we miss again. So let's take a reset there and try once more. I reckon if we can get a flinch on that Espeon, we should be really good to go. We know now that the Venusaur is not a threat. We also know that he's going to go for Sunny Day because he doesn't see the one-hit KO. Let's headbutt the Espeon. We don't get a flinch again, unfortunately, but we do get a critical hit. Onto the Snorlax once more. Dynamic Punch misses twice in a row. We're not getting the luck. Let's try and get this thing confused. Please hit yourself. No. No luck and a crit. I'm taking a reset. We have so many points in this challenge, in this fight, where we just need one bit of luck. And we're not getting it at the moment, unfortunately. Sunny Day again on the Venusaur. I'm feeling very vindicated about forgetting Surf at this point. Please flinch, Espeon. There we go, we get the flinch. That means we can go to return. And we are probably going to want a deep punch once against this Snorlax. He goes straight for Body Slam, of course he does. Please hit yourself in confusion. That's all we want. No, we aren't paralysed though, we're on 124. Going to be relying a little bit on luck here now, unfortunately. We get a deep punch on the Blastoise. Is he going to hit himself? Absolutely not. Why would he hit himself? We'll go to Headbutt for a turn. Still no hitting himself in confusion. And he's confused no more. This has not been a very nice Red fight. Again, double flinch and we win. We don't win. And now we're back on a pre-recorded voiceover for the end of this Red battle, because I swore a couple of times in the live voiceover and I'm not having swearing here on the pre-recorded videos. We still get through Pikachu incredibly easily. We fish for the flinch against the Venusaur and it doesn't happen, so we take yet another reset. I still think that sacking Surf was the right idea. I think it's always going to be a luck-based fight here at Red, and the luck we got on the day was just not happening. A big reason that I decided to get rid of Surf, by the way, is because of Sunny Day. That Surf would be incredibly nerfed because of Sunny Day, and because Venusaur does not see the KO at level 71, Red's AI means he is greatly encouraged to use Sunny Day as opposed to going straight for Solar Beam. We get a very nice critical hit on the Snorlax there, so we're on relatively good health for the Blastoise. Dynamic Punch hits and does a lot of damage, but unfortunately we don't get the turn 1 confusion luck. We are on 86 HP though as the Blastoise goes down, and now in theory we could survive 2 hits from Charizard, but that's kind of worst case scenario. Fortunately on this particular attempt we get through with a single flinch. That's all we needed all the way through, and we defeat Red in a time of 1 hour, 15 minutes and 56 seconds. There's definitely a lot more potential to FERALIGATR, so I think we will be seeing a redo probably on stream sooner rather than later. It does put us in second place on the leaderboard, and there isn't that much time in between Ursaring and our FERALIGATR. And if we're comparing it to the old time, we've saved around about 14 minutes. But with that, we're done. So I'm going to say thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, subscribe if you have, and I'll see you all very, very soon.